to understand the future of diversity and inclusion, we must go into the past, into our evolutionary heritage. Now, I want you to imagine something with me. Imagine your distant ancestors. Imagine you as one of your distant ancestors, kind of living in a tribe just like this one, a couple of dozen people around you, and you are sitting around the fire, sharing stories, sharing food, and suddenly there's a loud cry. Your outlook, your person who's watching out, observes an enemy tribe coming to attack your land. Very dangerous. You know, you're fighting for a tribe, for security, that's really important to you. So imagine that you're in that situation. The men go grab their weapons, run out to the entrance. The women grab the children, go deeper into the cave. This is the land of our ancestors. This is a tribal environment. We are all the children of people who grew up in these tribes. Tribalism was very important to survive. But tribalism is something that we all have inbuilt in us. So it's something that is just a part of who we are. Tribalism is a part of who we are. It's natural. It's human intuition. It's our gut reaction. So this goes, don't go with your gut. Our gut is to be tribal. Our gut is to like people like us, hire people like us, give them higher scores, and so on. That's our gut. That's our intuition. So we have to understand that in the modern world, our tribal intuition, what let us succeed in that world, in the tribal world, that's what led us to succeed. It's really harming us right now. It's not a good adaptation for our world right now. It really impedes diversity and inclusion initiatives. So our natural intuitions impede diversity and inclusion initiatives. I'll give you another example. So we had very nice lunch and very nice desserts. Sugar, eating sugar is another natural intuition that we all have. In the tribal environment, it was very important, whenever you had sugar, to eat as much of it as possible. So we are wired to eat sugar. That's bad in the modern world. No, don't do that. Don't eat all the sugar that's possible. You had a buffet there. Bad. Now, that leads to poor health for us if we eat as much sugar as possible. For physical health, for mental health. So we need to not be natural. We need to be civilized. We need to not eat all the sugar. Similarly, in our workplace, the natural thing is to hire people like us. The natural thing is to appraise people like us better. Diversity and inclusion is not natural. It's civilized, but it's not natural. We have to always understand that. In diversity and inclusion, we're always fighting against human intuition. We're always fighting against our natural intuitive reactions. So that's what we're struggling with. Human, natural, intuitive intuitions when we pursue diversity and inclusion efforts. Now, that's something that's a challenge, obviously, if we're going to be struggling against natural human intuitions. But it's also an opportunity, because now if we understand where the challenge is coming from, we've all had some more or less success with addressing the desire to eat as much sugar as possible, right? More or less. The cheesecake is my Achilles heel. So we all have struggles, right? So we can also do the same thing with diversity and inclusion efforts. What we need to do is understand what diversity and inclusion efforts are struggling against and how to address these basic emotional intuitions. So one of the challenges that often accompanies diversity and inclusion is shame and guilt. People often try to use shame and guilt to promote diversity and inclusion. And that's really, research is not bearing that out. It's showing that shame and guilt are just not going to help you in the long term if you pursue diversity and inclusion efforts. Now, if you're fat shaming a fat person, that's really not going to help that person in the long term improve their eating. In the same way, shame and guilt in the long term will not improve diversity and inclusion efforts. So those are not really good strategies. We need to use appropriate strategies, strategies that are informed by what we know about how the human mind works and how to influence people to get what we want.